Welcome everyone. Today we will be discussing about brute force approach in problem solving. Myself, Dr. Arun Kumar from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Karpagam College of Engineering. So, what are all the algorithm design techniques available? We have quite a lot of design techniques that are used for solving a problem. So basically, algorithm design technique is utilized to create an algorithm to solve a particular problem. We have quite a lot of techniques such as brute force, divide and conquer, greedy, dynamic programming, branch and bound, randomized algorithm, and even backtracking. Why we need so many different design techniques? The reason is quite simple. We may have multiple design techniques for a single problem, but all the techniques are not efficient. So in terms of efficiency, we classify certain techniques as better than the other, of which brute force approach is one of the foremost problem solving technique, and we will see what are all the basic concepts behind the brute force approach. The brute force approach is direct, and it is one of the straightforward approach ever you could see in solving a problem. It actually explores all possible ways, or rather all possible solutions to a given problem. It is one of the powerful tools used to solve complex problems. It actually iterates all possible solutions, which means it definitely takes quite a lot of time. But the end result is always this brute force approach is going to give a solution for a problem. It is a trial and error method, we can say. You try all the possibilities, you exhaust all the possibilities and get the result. Let me dig little deeper into that approach. What advantage this brute force approach really brings in to problem solving paradigm? It is a guaranteed way of getting a correct solution, meaning it definitely is going to provide you a solution at the end, but how long it will take, that is the question. So brute force approach is definitely a simple and an ideal approach for solving very small problems. Maybe I would say that as very simple problems where I have a very smaller input size. So we speak about simplicity whenever we apply a brute force approach. Definitely it will serve as a comparison benchmark. That is one of the highlight. So where this brute force approach really lacks, the limitations. The very first point is it is definitely an inefficient approach compared to all other contemporary problem solving techniques. In most of the problems, real-time problems, this approach may even go up to order of n factorial, which is very large, which means it is basically very ineffective in terms of time complexity. Definitely this brute force algorithm is slow because it is going to explore all the possibilities. Henceforth, it is not the best method to choose when you have a large problem size. Let me give an example here for brute force approach. Think about something like this: a digit padlock. You might have seen these sort of digital padlocks everywhere. So we need to, basically this will have an answer to unlock this key. And as you can see, maybe in this example, there are 4 digits. And out of those 4 digits, there might be one combination of numbers will be the answer. You call it as password or a passcode, whatever you call. And that password will make this lock to be released. You think about, you are not having any idea about the answer, or rather I can say you definitely don't know the password. What approach you will be applying? I think you can get hold of what is brute force approach if you could think about the answer which creeps in your mind now. You try all the possibilities. In what way you can try? You start with the very first possibility of say 0, 0, 0. Go ahead with the next possibility 0, 0, 0 and 1. And basically, the next one is 2, 3, 4. It goes along until you can explore the whole possibilities, or until a point where you get the answer. Now, in such case, if my password happens to be 999 and 9, how much comparison we make? We make the maximum number of comparison to get the result. You call it as a worst case scenario. In any case, if you just think about this as a logic, this is what a brute force will do. Of course, if you are lucky enough and you have an answer like 0005 as your password, you might end up with smaller number of comparisons, or rather smaller number of exploration to get the result. But this won't be the case in most of the problems. And remember, this is confined only to a length of 4. Now just think about if I am having a length of say 10. When you apply the brute force approach, if this digit padlock have a 10 digit, and you just think about the number of combinations you have to check so that you arrive and get the password or the passcode to unlock it, it's very very difficult. That's where we can say brute force approach is always easy if the problem size is very very small. So that's what it has been given. If it is a 4-digit padlock, you try all possible 4-digit combination. So basically it is between 0000 to all 9s. Hence, you have some 10,000 combination to check and get the result. I call that as a worst case. So this is what a brute force approach is all about. And remember, definitely I will be getting an answer one way or other, one time or the next time. I will reach out to the answer. So it can be an advantage, but certainly it is a limitation if you think about the time complexity factor when the problem size increases. So this is what a brute force approach is all about. Now, what is the outline you normally have when you are trying to apply this brute force approach to solve a problem? You define the problem, you enumerate all possible solutions, test each candidate. Of course, testing each candidate depends on the constraints of the problem. Select the correct solution and finally analyze the time complexity. So, in general, brute force approach is simple, but it is certainly ineffective in terms of time complexity. Think about something like linear search, a very fundamental problem that applies a brute force strategy. Linear search is a simple searching algorithm where Having given an array, we can search each and every index position to get to know whether that particular number is present or not. I am trying to search a number in an array. I apply a very simple logic where I start with the first position, compare it with the number present with the number which I am supposed to search. I do it again and again until end of the list. So that's a sequential search. And here every item is checked, and if a match is found, I can say that the number is present. Otherwise, I have to continue until the end of the list. Here again, you just think about if I am having 1,000 numbers or a 2,000 or beyond that. Always this linear search will be very tedious if my searching number happens to be at the end of the list. So that's where this worst case scenario comes up. So if you could really want to see how a linear search works, this is how it will do. I am trying to search a number 33 here. It will compare each and every index position, and it is going to get the result if the number is present. So we basically apply a brute force approach in linear search so that we get a solution. Think about an example like this. I'm having an input list and a 77. How the processing will be? 77 will be compared with 5. No. 77 will be compared with 34. No. 77 with 65. No. 77 with 12. No. 77 with 77. Matching. So it comes out and say that the index position, which happens to be 4 here, if I'm starting with 0th index, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Of course, 4 is the index position of the search position where I got the success. Hence, I'm returning that index. This is how a linear search will work. And remember, this linear search belongs to a brute force problem solving technique. And the code here, as you know, if you want to write a small code for linear search using a for loop, you iterate between 0 to n elements, take each element in an array, compare it with the search element every time, and if matching happens, you return the index. Otherwise, increment the index, get the next value, compare it with the search element, and try to find out whether the number is present or not. So this one is pretty much like a brute force approach where we are definitely searching each and every index to get whether the number is present or not. Hence, it is a brute force approach. You just think about a hacker who is applying a brute force approach to hack a password. Maybe here it is number of characters where the password contains only numbers, only lowercase, uppercase and lowercase. You have the combination of number, upper, lower, number, upper, lowercase, including symbols. Now you just think about if my number of character is just 4 and everything is in number format, I can really crack it using a brute force approach very easily. But when I am having number of characters as 10 and I do have the combinations of upper, lower cases and numbers, you can see here it takes more time. Almost 7 months it might take to crack the code. And you just think about if my length is number of characters is 14 and if I am having all the combination of lower, upper cases and symbols, it may even take high number of years, in fact 200 million years, to get what is the answer for that. Hence, brute force approach is very simple. It will work perfectly fine for small sized problems, not for large sized problems. Hence, time complexity of brute force algorithm will always be large. Hence, it is time inefficient method compared to all other methods. Think about an example like finding maximum number in an array. What logic you can apply? You just take the first element as max. Say I'm taking the number 2 as max. Now compare 2 with 6. I have 6 which is higher than max, so now the max become 6. What else I can do? Compare 6 with 1. 1 is smaller than 6, so my max is again 6, retained the same value. Now I am comparing max value 6 with 8. Now I am encountering a larger than 6 value, hence my max get updated as 8. Now I compare 8 with 4. 4 is much lesser than your 8. Hence I stop the process and finally I have a max, which is nothing but the maximum number in the array. This is a simple logic, and remember, this is also a logic that is equivalent to a brute force approach. So brute force approach is very simple, but definitely the time complexity is not the best one, and henceforth it is one of the basic method for solving problems. Thank you.